at Nangang Skate Park, under the bridge. Is it a bridge or under a cover, whatever? In Taipei with the infamous Marcus Aurelius Maurice. Is that correct?
What up?
Here he
How's
is.
it going?
It's all good, man. It's a bit of a busy skate park, so there's a few people about. We just have to let them get on with it. And if you see the camera wobbling, then it's because that lunatic has just come flying around behind Marcus. He's bouncing about. There we are. There we are. So we're all good for going. I've known Marcus for how many years now, is it?
Probably a decade, I'd say, at least.
Coming on that, isn't it? It's when Grandmaster Flash came to town, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was nine years ago, actually. I saw the picture of him being mad about the end of his set recently, so it's pretty funny. Because they turned his music down, and he just pulled his Serato out and said, "Okay, I'm finished." And I was next, and I had to like hurry up, grab my stuff, put it all together, and like with silence. So there was a picture of that came up on Facebook Memories, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually. So it was close.
That's quite funny. So there we are, and here we are again, back at it after all these years.
Back at it.
Plenty of water under the bridge. Now, I never really knew that you were a skater until about 4 years ago, and I saw some footage of you on Facebook. Obviously, your skating journey started before then, so why don't you tell us a bit about that?
I was skating probably since I was maybe 8, 10 years old. Okay, so in Warren, Ohio, we had a skate shop near my house, and we used to skate there. Probably it was like the first place you could go to without your parents. You could skate there that was a little bit far away, you know, like a mile, 2 miles, a couple kilometers, something like that. And so that was really exciting. And at that skate shop, they had a quarter pipe that they built. And then my grandfather wanted to help me build a ramp. So he asked the guys at the skate shop if they would come to his house and help him build a ramp because he wanted to have one. So we made a little jump ramp, and it was really cool because it had it like went down like that. So it was 4 foot wide and went down like that. So you could actually slide on the bar on the way down. So that was cool. And then they had, they were open for maybe 4 or 5 years, and they had lots of contests and stuff like that. So I would always do pretty well in those contests. I was the champion of like the middle. They had the beginner, the middle, and the bigger leagues. And so at that time I was the champion of the middle league one. And then as I got older, the older kids let me hang out with them and stuff like that, even as a younger kid. And, you got to do all kinds of fun stuff. So that's when I started skating. And I skated probably till about 17 or 18, about college time. And then I grew a lot. I grew like a foot in my final year of high school. And my knees kind of got a little bit shot. So all the twists and spins and all that stuff were a lot harder being a foot taller. So I've always skated, just kind of casually skated since then, but never like really into contests or anything like that.
Right on. So mentioning you grew fast then, and you were touching your knees. Did you get lumps on the fronts of your knees?
Yeah,
so
right here.
You got a thing called Osgood-Schlatter's
Osgood
disease.
Schlatter, yeah.
Yeah. I did the same thing. Got excused from sport, but refused to stop skating.
Yeah, I mean, it just really, that plus going away to college, I think were the two things that kind of slowed me down. Maybe starting to like girls too, you know what I mean? Introducing myself to alcohol and weed, stuff like that. So those, you start your time, your free time starts to get spent doing other things.
So recovering mostly.
Well, just, you used to go skate downtown, and now it was like, hey, there's a store that will sell 15-year-olds alcohol, so let's skate there and let's go do that. And instead of going to skate a ramp, I had a half pipe in my backyard. There was like an indoor skate park that had a nice spine. It had the spine, for like a year. That was really good for every day you went there and just learned all kinds of tricks and stuff like that. So, and that was really when I got into hip hop. So I started listening to Jane's Addiction in the beginning, and then Public Enemy. They started playing Public Enemy there, and that was it. That was like, holy shit.
Right on. I'm with you there, man. Sounds like you had some really decent facilities though.
Well, it was, Ohio is Ohio. Like if you look at California, why are all the good skaters from California? Because they can skate every goddamn day. If you're in Ohio, you need a skate park. And so for us, there was probably 1 or 2 around where we lived, but then there were maybe 2 or 3 within an hour. So then you start getting a driver's license. You start driving to Pittsburgh, you start driving to Cleveland, start doing that, and then you meet the skaters there. They have, Bones Brigade would come to Pittsburgh, so you go watch that and go skate around with them all around the city. So they'd do their demo and then they'd go ride around like that. And so we did all kinds of, I think typical skater shit. But it was really, I was the younger one, so we had 1 or 2 guys, like when I was 12 or 13, that had a car. So they could take us and drive us an hour away and stuff like that. So that was really good.
That was useful. But it's nice to have supportive, your grandfather supporting you.
Oh yeah, and helping build having a ramp in your backyard, man. I used to make a list of tricks. Just in the summer, I'd say, okay, summer's out. I want to learn these 50 tricks, and just sit there and sit in my backyard all day and just try to learn nose blunts or nose taps or nose whatever, and just keep going and going and going until you learned all the tricks.
And that was a mini ramp, was it?
A mini ramp, yeah, probably smaller than this, probably about 4 foot high, I'd say.
That's enough. That's perfect to learn on, isn't it?
Oh, it's great, man. It was great. It was perfect for, you didn't really get hurt too much, so that was good.
But then you took a hiatus.
Yeah, after college, or during college, after college, moving here, I skated randomly, you know what I mean? I'd always have a board, but I just skated randomly. And then probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I met a couple guys. So when they built this place, actually, because this is not that old, I'm not sure how old it is, but they put the roof over it. It didn't have it was just that back area first. So we come here a little bit, and then they built this and they built the roof, and then you could skate at any time. So I was at one point, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was coming here once a week, maybe even. And then I watched my one friend get hurt. And as a 48-year-old man and watching another 40, 45, 46, 47-year-old person get really hurt, it just kind of like, I just said, I don't know if I can really skate that much anymore, because I got too much stuff happening in my life that skateboarding, I'm a skater at heart, but as far as like my ankles, I can't have a broken ankle this weekend because I was out trying to do a kickflip on the ramp,
Right on. So you feel the limitations to a degree.
I mean, it just...
Well, let me rephrase that. You're placing those restrictions on yourself because of a level of maturity?
Yeah, I mean, I'd never want to say I'm mature, but I guess you could say that, like if I broke my leg or had to have surgery or something like that, it would just really screw up the next 6 months of my life. And I didn't want that. So I haven't, today is the first time riding around here in 3 or 4 years. And to be honest, it feels fantastic. It's amazing. I'm a little nervous, but it feels great. It's fun.
That's part of the fun, isn't it? To feel the fear and do it anyway. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that you're close to the edge, man. Skateboarding is living on the edge.
Joel, in the last interview, he's like, he can't break himself because he's got a job and skateboarding. But it's got pitfalls, which is why now I pad up. I'm not going to lie about it. I put pads on because the same thing. Yeah. I've got responsibilities and the money's got to come in. And yeah, I've got a life where maybe having a broken wrist isn't going to stop it. But having a broken ankle, not being able to drive, that could be tricky. Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so that's why I haven't skated very much. But, just riding around today, it makes me feel like, because I always think, man, I would love to come here once a week and just kind of get better at riding around for a half hour, an hour. And riding around today, not dying yet, it makes me feel like maybe that's still a possibility.
Of course it's a possibility. It's just doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just doing it. Even getting the nerve to drop in again that I haven't dropped in 4 or 5 years. You just feel like, fuck it, do it, let's go, boom, and then you do it, and it's easy. It's so simple, but it's just like, even there's still some pebbles on there and stuff like that. Your board starts to go away, like shit.
But it's not small. You're not dropping on anything small.
This park is made for bikes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it. Some of it is made for bikes, so it's big. If it was all 3 feet tall, it'd be one thing, but it's 6 feet, so it's pretty scary.
Yeah, and there's a vert ramp and a nice little bowl we'll see in a bit. But you're riding something a bit on the skinny side there. Let's have a look at that. Do you know much about what you're riding?
The thing is, I don't have any clue of what is hot or what people are using to skate or anything like that, because I don't watch. I watch some skate videos that come around and see some cool stuff, but I couldn't tell you what size these wheels are, what kind of trucks they are. This board somehow got to me. I don't even remember how I got it, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, it was more like, hey, someone's selling a board for 1,000 NT or something like that, so I got it. And it rides, it works, and so I don't ever really think about it. It's not skateboarding is inside me, but it's not something that I really focus on very much.
So you wouldn't call yourself a skate nerd then?
Skate nerd? Oh, no. I don't know. Like I like watching Day One Song's Instagram because he does really weird shit. There's another guy, Richie something, who's doing all kinds of crazy sliding down, those orange cones and weird shit like that. I think that's awesome. But as far as like who's the number one skater, I have no clue at all.
For me, now I'm looking at skateboarding. Obviously, when we were a kid, it was always like, who's the number one skater? Is it Christian Assoy?
Yeah.
Is it Tony Hawks? And it was always that bam, bam, bam. And it was kind of maybe that was part of the media influence on it. And then as I got older and transition went out and street came in, I couldn't know Day One Song was until 4 years ago. I know who he is now.
Yeah.
But that's only because of the internet.
Yeah.
But I am a bit of a skate nerd. I think a bit about my we're at the skate park. That's fair enough. I think a little bit about my setup. And when I got here, I looked at your board. I'm like, wow, that looks like a 775 Orion trucks. Now I've never heard of Orion trucks. So if anybody in the comments knows who about Orion trucks, you see skateboarding. Am I correct in thinking that you see skateboarding more as a creative outlet and expression, as opposed to, like you use it as a creative expression and outlet and a way of meditation or something? Or what do you get from it?
For me, when I started skateboarding, I got freedom. I got to leave my house. I got to go do whatever. I got to sit. I think what I learned from skateboarding is patience. How many times do you have to grind the curve before you learn how to Smith grind it? So that really taught me, like, move your legs a little bit, do this, move your feet a little bit, back up this way, do that. So you're trying each time to get the right thing. And so I learned a lot. I learned freedom. I learned, how to interact with people who are different from you, because skaters are a weird bunch of people. So you got to learn, how to drop in at the right time and not cut a person, something like that, So I feel like skateboarding really taught me a lot about life in general. For me now, I still think, like you asked, do I consider myself a skater? I still, in my heart, am a skater, because I think that once you're it, you're always it. Whereas, there's always a little bit, when I see a ramp or when I see a curb like this, it looks cool. You always think like, oh damn, I'd love to go ollie that, or I'd love to go jump over that, right? But as a 48-year-old person, you have to kind of know your limitations. Like this is a perfect example of how good Taipei is, or Taiwan is in general, because all the skate parks we had some of this stuff with the spines and all the ramps and stuff like that. But they were so janky. They had screws out and missing and things ripped off. It looks like someone takes care of this each and every single day. Someone from that building probably comes in and looks at the screws and does all this.
They don't do it with the bowl, though, do they?
They might have done it with the bowl 10 years ago.
So yeah, it is good for facilities, but that brings us onto the skate parks. Do you think that development of skate parks and pushing skaters towards using skate parks almost starts to take the edge off people's vision and the use of the street, and discourages people to use the streets?
I mean, I look at it, skateboarding, a lot like graffiti, okay? If you have a big, huge graffiti wall that you say, this is the legal graffiti wall, everyone do it, then people will do it there, but then all around that area, there's all kinds of people doing graffiti around it because it's the illegal part, okay? So skateboarding, I mean, I think that skate parks are instrumental in people learning how to do things. You know what I mean? Like, there's a ball pit here, there's coaches here, there's all kinds of stuff that can help kids learn how to skate, and that's keeping them from doing something else. And maybe that's bad, like not necessarily in Taiwan, but in other places, it keeps them off the street. So I think it's good in that sense. But kids have to get from their house to here, so they're skating on the street to do it. And so I think that just a skate park is a great place. Like, I only have good memories of skate parks because that's all I used to do, was go drive around and find new skate parks and go check them out and go see the skaters and go meet people there and check out girls there. So I think skate parks are great. And it's just, graffiti, if you take the graffiti off the street and put it in the art gallery, I still like it in the art gallery too. And I'm happy that those people who spent all the time getting up around the city are now making money doing art galleries. So I think it's just a natural progression of art, skateboarding, hip hop all together, kind of.
Personally, I think any encouragement in any facility is better than nothing. And yeah, some things are a bit janky, but just try and engage that skate brain and try and figure out how to make the most of it.
When I was a kid, they were trying to ban skateboarding in the downtown part of my town. So we got all the skaters, came there and like got them to say that we could skate after a certain time, after the offices were closed, like after 6 p.m. or whatever. So the skaters fought the government and won in that time.
Right on.
And we got them to agree to build a skate park, and the government never built a skate park.
Oh wow.
But so we kind of learned like, hey, it can work, and it's also bullshit at the same time.
Yeah, that was a life lesson. Speaking of life lessons, and obviously you've already touched on it, you know, you've got perseverance, patience, open-mindedness, is that fair?
Sure, yeah.
And creative thought process, and obviously you've taken those into your life now.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about what you do now and how that can relate?
I think that one thing, you know, for me, I DJ now. I've been DJing for 20 years. Consider myself one of the OGs of the Taiwan DJ scene and one of the best DJs in all of Asia, just straight up. And so I think the same thing is that I practice a lot to DJ when I started, and still now. I still put my stuff up, and before I play a gig, I'm going through music and practicing all the time and saying, oh, this would be cool like that, this would be cool like that, just like I did when I was skateboarding when I was 10 years old. So it taught me that practice, you're always gonna practice. I wanna practice whatever I'm doing until I die, okay? I feel like if you're not practicing, you're not improving yourself. So skateboarding, the mentality of skateboarding, and the mentality of hip hop, of making something out of nothing, which is kind of, to me, is kind of, with graffiti too, all three of those are kind of like the same path. You know, you're making something cool out of nothing that was there before, is what it is. And that's what I've done here, is that I've made a career out of DJing when I didn't have that before, and I never had really even thought of that before. So once I started doing it, I started getting good, I started practicing, and boom, now my life has become being a DJ, being an event coordinator, being a festival organizer.
Right on. And you happy?
So happy, man. Every single day I'm happy. That's the thing, is that riding a skateboard, you feel just carving up and down these things, even not even hitting the coping, just riding it to get that feeling. That's a good feeling of life. You know what I mean? And I feel like even when I'm on a scooter, even when I'm walking around, I feel that kind of feeling of like, boom, you're riding the wave of the day, you're riding this, you're getting in the groove of the traffic, you're doing this. And so I feel so happy. I mean, I always say that I'm 85% happy, and the other is just saying that so that I can improve more. Okay, so my girlfriend calls me suffocatingly optimistic. And so, hey, what can I say, you know? And so I'm extremely happy to still be a skater, to live my life, to be here today.
Right on, man. Let's cut it there and go and have a little session.
All right, let's do it.